Nimerudi na ingine leo. Nataka kuuliza kama community wa diaspora kama ingejengwa kwa kanisa ama nje kwa kanisa. Now, what I just tried to say in Swahili is I'm back, and today I have another question, and I wanted to ask, should the Kenyan community be built on and around the church or outside of the church? Now, let's get right into the topic. No fluff, no wasting your time. The reason I asked this question is because the majority of the Kenyan community here within the states that I know of personally, or should I say, some of the strongest communities that are built here, are usually centered around church, a church, or, faith, etc. So I was wondering whether this has been a detriment because of how I've seen the church play out growing up here. Now, if you're a diaspora Kenyan living somewhere within the States, you've probably seen a similar tale of a Kenyan church nearby to you where a church grows, a church splits, there's 10 pastors within 1 square mile and 8 churches within that same 10, maybe 10 square mile. And it's almost as if like this big chunk of Kenyans now have to be split within like 10 different churches for no reason. Now, there's nothing wrong with building a community around your church and with the people that go to the same church as you. Nothing wrong at all. As you guys can see, it's starting to rain, but we are going to get through this video. Now, like I was saying, there's absolutely nothing wrong with building a community around the church. But from what I've seen myself, just growing up here, there's always a lot of contention within the church that ends up splitting communities, whether that's friends you had before or people you used to hang out with. Now there's some big indifference within the church, and now the church is splitting, right? A good 30-40% of the congregation ends up going with some new pastor, this and the other. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about from the diaspora, right? So, the big question in the room, should the Kenyan community be built around the church? I personally think that it shouldn't, and the reason is faith should be separate from what we are as an identity as Kenyans, right? I believe that we should be able to meet and congregate and do our own things like as strong communities that doesn't have to be based around the church. And the reason I say this is majority of the people I knew connected, like other Kenyans, it was usually through some church event or something related to church. We would even travel to different states like Missouri and meet other Kenyans there through church, right? So like I said, there's nothing wrong with church. But at the same time, when all these little issues start prickling up and there's all these problems, now people don't want to talk to each other. Now, oh, your parents are beefing with these parents. I'm telling you, it gets to a point where you'll have Kenyans choosing to go to an American church nearby rather than choosing even one of their own local churches. Reason being, you're trying to avoid all of the extra drama, all of the extra nonsense, all the aunties and uncles in your business that you don't need in your business, right? So you end up actually just going to a local American church to avoid all that commotion. Now, this shouldn't be the case. Now, that's also a personal choice that someone may make to go to, an American church. But it shouldn't be the case that there's so much toxicity within the actual church, yet that's the only place where you can find a strong community and a strong group of Kenyans to hang out and build a life in a community around, right? Now, what could it be? Um, by all means, still do things with your church. Still do things within your local community at the church. But at the same time, if someone has to plug in to the church in order to be part of certain things and, you know, mingle with Kenyans, it kind of leaves out a big chunk of people. There's a bunch of Kenyans out there who aren't going to church every single Sunday. I'm one of those. I'm not gonna come on this YouTube channel and act like I'm some holier than thou, this and the other. I grew up in the church. This and like every week, probably 3 to 4 events that I was doing that were just church related, right? So I grew up immersed deep in it. I don't want that to be my life. I don't like I should be able to do other things with people that doesn't have to be like connected to the church, right? Now, when you do step out of the church, a lot of what's there for you is partying communities and people to go out to the club with. Maybe you go out, grab drinks. It's usually a lot of like fun friends. You have a lot of fun friends that aren't in the church you can still link up with, right? But in my great imagination, Kenyans should be able to come together en masse, regardless of what your tribe is, what denomination of Christianity or Islam or whatever you are, and still meet within their local areas. But what I've seen is that everything is so fragmented, right? I don't think I'm crazy. If there's diaspora Kenyans watching this, please let me know in the comments, right? Have you seen what I'm talking about? Where you'll have, let's say, 1,000 Kenyans in a big geographical area, and then 14 to 20 churches, meaning like every church realistically has like 50 people or something crazy, something small. I don't know. To me, it just seems like we lost the plot, or maybe there was never a plot. That's the thing too. Do we have to build a whole new identity as Kenyans, us being the new generation? Does there have to be a new Kenyan identity in order for that to exist outside of what we do right now, which is church based? Y'all let me know. Think that's it? Maybe. Mm, no, that's it. That's it. That's it. Overall, 3 questions. Should the church be built? Should the community be built within the church, outside the church? And does there need to be a new common identity in order for our communities to not be based on the church? You guys let me know if I'm crazy, if I'm onto something, or if I'm just chatting. At the end of the day, I'm not on here to tell you what to believe, what to not believe, but I do believe that we should be able to have strong communities that are outside of our faiths. Y'all have a great day. I love you all, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.